What's up, gang, and welcome back to another edition of Road Trippin' with the Rudes.
And today we have our real review of
The Harder They Fall. Netflix.
And guys, if this is your first time joining, thank you so much for joining. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like this video. We will have more real reviews coming your way. We will have more travel and all things road tripping with the Roots. If you've been riding with us all along, thank you so much. Please be sure to comment down below so we know you're here. And guys, before we get started, you know the drill. We do not talk about the movie until we are here with you. This is our full-on spoiler for The Harder They Fall. If you have not seen The Harder They Fall yet and you're wondering, should I check it out? Be sure to check out our YouTube short of our thoughts, non-spoiler. Let's get into it. Netflix came for our necks, okay? I know you might be thinking, all right, there's Buzz, Jay-Z's the producer, you have Regina King, you have Idris Elba, Jonathan Majors, but what does being a cowboy have to do with the culture?
Well, I know. My dad has been riding horses forever, so, it's definitely black cowboys in the culture, 100%. They started the culture, actually.
Absolutely. The first cowboys were black. Here's the thing. Enslaved Africans not only tended to the fields and worked with cotton, they absolutely had to deal with the livestock. Mm-hmm. In fact, if there was a white male working, they were referred to as a cow hand. Mm-hmm. Black males were called cowboys. A derogatory statement, but guess what? We ran the joint. We were the trailblazers, and we were the ones that were taking over the West. Mm-hmm. So we took back what was ours in this movie, and it beyond delivered. Before we get into the play-by-play, let's cover some of just a quick history lesson. Again, cowboys were actually black males. You don't see a lot of it in census because oftentimes slave owners would take and send their cowboys off into the woods when it was time for the census, simply because they didn't want to pay the taxes. So when you look at a proud white supremacist like John Wayne, and you look at the history and you realize that his character was actually modeled after a black cowboy, it's mind-blowing. And so once this movie started, first of all, visually it was stunning.
The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger absolutely was black as well. The Lone Ranger was actually Bass Reeves. So very similar to how Esther Jones is the real Betty Boop. It was that type of energy. The Lone Ranger was absolutely a boss. He actually captured over 300 criminals. Mm-hmm. He put in work. But when you get into this movie, the clarity of the movie almost freaked me out.
Yeah, super crispy. That 4K was looking like 8K. I don't know.
First of all, you know it's a star-studded cast when DeWanda Wise is only there for 30 seconds. Let's just put that out there.
Right.
It starts off with the table scene. I wanted to grab a biscuit. It was so clear it was almost freaky. Right? Definitely not for the kiddos. It's gory. It's gory, but so full disclaimer, I've never watched Kill Bill, but I feel like it was giving me that almost like a Quentin Tarantino vibe.
It was.
But I was here for it. It wasn't like, okay, I can't watch. Mm-hmm. Right? We are introduced to Idris Elba's character. And can we talk about the casting of Jonathan Majors, young Jonathan Majors?
Oh, yeah, that was spot on.
You immediately, in the introduction, when you see a little boy at the table, Jonathan you knew, okay, he's going to grow up to be Jonathan Majors, right? Mm-hmm. You're not sure what is going on because Jonathan Majors' dad, or Nat Love in this movie, shout out to Lovecraft Country, I thought that was interesting. Nat Love's dad is killed by Idris Elba, and Idris has a road dog with him. Yep. Now, here's an interesting part. I really appreciated the fact that Idris's partner in crime was a Latino, because not only did they have cowboys, but you also had Mexican vaqueras, and I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but those were the guys that basically ran the West.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, man, they really put in the work and doing the history with that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Everything was, from front to back. You could tell they researched everything.
It was so thorough.
You could tell they researched everything, even the characters' names.
Yes.
And they're not even characters; they're real people.
They're real people.
They're real cowboys.
So it will tell you that the story is fictitious, but if you look, those names are paying homage to real cowboys.
Hmm.
You see Idris Elba as Rufus Buck. He kills not only Nat Love's dad, he kills the mom first, so the dad watches.
Yes.
And then kills the dad, and then marks a cross on Nat Love's head.
Mm-hmm.
You fast forward to the future. Nat Love is an adult, and he's about that life. And he takes out Idris Elba's partner in crime.
Yep.
That got gory, that got real, but it was great.
Yeah, and he was shocked to see him as an adult.
Yes.
When he seen him.
Yes.
He knew what time it was once he seen him.
Listen, karma might not be quick, but karma is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Karma is Amazon during the holiday season. It will get to you eventually. So I thought that was great. We then kind of get the backstory that Rufus Buck is actually being transported to Yuma, Arizona. Shout out to all my peeps in Yuma, Arizona. I spent a lot of time there for work. My early 2000s belonged to Yuma. So I thought that was great because I know the prison they were talking about. Mm-hmm. You couldn't escape because you were in the middle of nowhere. So I thought, man, that was great. You then see Rufus Buck's crew, led by Regina King, who plays Trudy Smith, come to free Rufus. The name of the train, C.A. Bozeman.
Yep. Little Chadwick Boseman Easter egg.
And, the thing is that when you see Jonathan Majors, you do think of Chadwick. Jonathan Majors definitely gives you that Chadwick Boseman energy from the standpoint of, you're watching one of the greats, right? You couldn't tell me Chadwick wasn't Jackie Robinson. You couldn't tell me Chadwick wasn't James Brown. You couldn't tell me that Jonathan Majors was not He Who Remains, right? And then he comes into this role.
Well, he's a true thespian.
He really is. Because, and guys, if you have not seen our review for the Loki series, we'll be sure to include that. But I forget about He Who Remains because now I am full on fledged here for Nat Love. So I thought that was brilliant. In addition to Rufus Buck having Trudy Smith as a part of his team, he's got Lakeith Stanfield. And I love Lakeith. Mm-hmm. With the exception of him in Judas and the Black Messiah, and that's just because of the character he played. If you've not seen our review on that, we'll include that. But, man, Lakeith is spot on. Right?
Cherokee Bill.
Man. You get to see Jim Bucksworth and Clyde Grimes as Nat Love's crew. And you see them kind of knock over. This was great because you had your sheriffs, you had your bank robbers, and then you had the people robbing the bank robbers. Mm-hmm. You had a quick cameo from Damon Wayans Jr., which, listen, the Wayans genes are strong. Like, if you looked away for a second, I would have 100% thought that was Damon Wayans talking.
It actually sounded like Major Payne.
It was almost like creepy. So that was really good. I love the fact that Trudy was feminine, but she was still a badass. Mm-hmm. And you had that energy. There was no, I guess there was no gender roles. It's the Wild West, right?
Well, Stagecoach Mary and they were very much, the I don't want to. They were a lady. They were ladylike, but they were still
about that life.
Right.
But I think as I was sitting there and watching it, I was thinking of why were people going west? You have to think at this time, they weren't under the United States. The Western Territory was literally the Wild West. So you had Native Americans and you had enslaved Africans fleeing the colonialism that was the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
They were braving all types of elements to find their piece of happiness. The wardrobes were amazing. The music, I couldn't even take it. Like when Stagecoach Mary, who is played by, is it Zazie?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I think it's Zazie Beetz. She was in Deadpool. She was in another movie that I really liked her in.
Yeah.
But when you see her, she starts by singing a song. The music was almost spiritual. And I'm glad that they didn't take the easy route and do what you would think was traditional country music.
Yeah, yeah.
They took it back to the roots of you're getting very
Reagan.
Caribbean.
Yep.
I was getting Caribbean, and I started just thinking of the Middle Passage, and I started thinking of the enslaved Africans that were sent to Jamaica to be broken in and things like that. So I felt like the attention to every aspect of this movie. You can come at me in the comments, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I mean it. The Harder They Fall is the Black Panther for America. It is the Wakanda for America.
I don't know about all that.
That's
going too far.
He might. Hey, listen, comment down below if you agree. But I remember.
Prisoner of the moment.
No, because I remember looking at Wakanda and thinking, oh my God, this would be amazing. And then I thought, man, what were their thoughts as they were traveling through the West, right? And trying to establish things. And in the same way that the writers with Black Panther and Ryan Coogler was very mindful of everything and understood the weight of everything, this process was thought out very well.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't sloppy. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't disrespectful in any way. It was...
And it didn't seem like we're just going to make a Rosewood 2.0.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
It was far from that. It was very good. Very standalone. Now, if you're not a Western fan, you may not like it. Now, I'm not a Western fan per se, but I was a fan of watching the characters develop to see, how they were
of this one,
to see how they were going to get through the conflict.
Yes.
And everything. So I was interested in that.
The plot twists and turns, and I think...
I just felt like it jumped around a little too much for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I was here for the character development, and I thought it was like true to how things move quickly. Normally.
Yeah.
And I so the reason why I made the connection to Black Panther, the late great now ancestor Toni Morrison, she spoke about her work, and she said oftentimes when she would read other literary greats of color, that she thought that they were writing our story to explain to a white audience. And Toni wrote to her people about their stories, and it resonated with us. Now, do I think, you have to be Black to appreciate this? No, because it is stunning on all levels.
Yeah, it's a Western.
It is stunning on all levels. It's a great Western, but there were like little things to say, hey, we see you. At least that's how I felt.
Well, we always put our flavor on anything we do. So you just knew that seasoning was on it.
Listen.
That's all it is. It's not little knowledge. It's just that we got the seasoning.
Down to the horses trotting in unison.
Oh yeah.
The
They was
horses
like
had swag.
strolling. They was like
The
the
horses
was
had
walking
swag.
into town like
Shout
that.
out, and here's the thing: if you're thinking like, wait a minute, Corey said his dad is a cowboy. Yeah, cowboys, black cowboys is still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up. See if you have a local one. Donate where you can. Shout out to City Ranch in Baltimore. They are doing the work. If you want to donate to them, I definitely say do so.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how you had Rufus Buck on his kind of mission, and you had Nat Love on his mission to kill Rufus Buck, and then you had their tribes kind of supporting that.
Yes.
That's real. That love was real.
Oh yeah. I just thought, they were kind of at a disadvantage going into Rufus Buck's town. You know,
I know. So I love the fact. So here's the thing: when the photos were coming out of the premieres, right, and I'm looking at the actors, I was like, well, how does he fit in, or what is? I did not. Shout out to Deion Cole. I did not expect Deion Cole to do so well, and like no disrespect to Deion Cole, but like. He played the role, and
it wasn't a comedic role.
No,
that's why. Yeah.
But it was still Deion Cole.
Yes.
So you had you had Trudy and the crew free Rufus Buck. Rufus Buck's like, "Where's my bread?" And they're like, "Hey, somebody stole it from you." Mm-hmm. So he's like, "Okay, let's go home." He goes to the town that he worked on building, only to find that his close friend, partner, ratted him out, was the reason that he went to jail, and then sold the town for his own benefit. Right? Shout out to self-sabotage. I'm glad Lakeith didn't play that character because Lakeith already has one strike against him. Right. Okay? So I was glad. I thought it was funny Lakeith's name was Bill. Bill must be his thing, right? Yeah. Bill twice, right?
Yeah.
You have like some gory fight scenes, and then you have it kind of, originally, Nat Love wanted to propose to Stagecoach Mary, but then he heard Rufus is out of Yuma and kind of went back on that mission of, I've got to take him out.
Well, he already had his plan in motion before that, and the reason why I know is because the sheriff showed up to the establishment that he was at, which was Stagecoach Mary's.
Yes.
Was that? Would you consider that a speakeasy or a saloon?
It was saloon, but yeah, I think it's funny because what happened was Delroy Lindo. Again, this cast was amazing. Delroy Lindo, as soon as he heard that Rufus Buck was out, he went to find Nat Love, and actually, Nat Love was like, "What do you mean?"
Well, no, because I feel like. They must have communicated before because, first of all, he went into Nat Love's spot and got him out of there safely without nothing happening to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way. When I seen the scene, I'm like, he's not getting him out of here, so this is going to be interesting. Then once he got him out of there, I'm like, hold on. And then,
there's a backstory there, right?
Yeah, right.
Because I think about it this way, right? Delroy Lindo plays Bass Reeves, which Bass Reeves, Long Ranger, right? He captured hundreds of men, but I'm sure that there were side alliances for the ones that escaped the long hand of the law that he couldn't touch. So, like that Dexter type energy of like Nat Love is a necessary evil.
Yes.
Right? And so I think that partnership was going on.
And it was the two things of where I feel like Nat Love knew that Bass had contact with Rufus before, remember?
Because and he told him, I captured him by myself.
Yep.
And that man is not the devil.
So I feel like Nat had prior knowledge to that, and that's how they got hooked up.
And Mary was like, okay, here we go. You're back on the streets. But
then, we find that out after he gets him out. They get down the road, and then Bass lets him out of the, wagon that he had him locked up in. But the rest of the crew shows up because they knew better.
Right.
The rest of the crew pulls up and was like, "Listen, we coming with you." And he wanted to tell them that, "Hey, this is a suicide mission. You guys."
He didn't
ain't
want them
coming
to
with
go,
me."
right? I will say
Yeah.
this. So not only do we see Stagecoach Mary at the speakeasy, we meet Cuffy.
Mm-hmm.
And the
I
the
feel like I know her
effects,
from somewhere too.
the effects and the gunplay and how it's funny because it was still competition, right? It wasn't like, I don't know. I never watched Westerns. That was never my thing. I always think of like Public Enemy and Can't Touch It, talk about John Wayne. But it's crazy because I always thought it was so serious, but they brought a lightheartedness to it.
Oh, yeah. It was always, there's always comic relief.
In Western, see, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I would not, I've never, I watched, I never watched like Clint Eastwood movies until like Dirty Harry, which that was like Bronson, right?
Your Westerns consisted of
I didn't watch Rosewood for the
City
record.
Slickers.
No, I didn't even watch that. Was Rosewood the one with Melvin Van Peebles?
Yeah.
Mario Van Melvin? Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't watch that. You see them ride in. You know it's a suicide mission. Can we talk about the colors, the pops of color in the town, the saturated blue?
I couldn't wait for you to get to this part. Yes.
Then, in order to Mary gets snatched up by Rufus Buck's team, and Trudy, Regina King is brilliant, right? But she tells the story, and she tells the story about her sister with polio, and how she took revenge, which it made me think of oh man, what's her name from Detroit? Like the mob.
I know you're talking about. I can't think of her name, but yes, I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Big something.
Big Fitty.
Big Fitty.
Big Fitty. Right, the mobster. So anyway, that scene was like really compelling because you saw the two women talk to each other, but they snatch up Mary, and Rufus says, "Listen, I need you to bring my money back that you took, and I also need $10,000. And that's where they discuss, listen, the black banks don't have that money. He said, well, go to a white bank. They didn't have any color in the town.
It was a white town.
It was, all the buildings were white. It's
crazy. It was crazy.
Guys, it looked like the Build-A-Bear box before you color it. It was such a stark contrast, but that also was visually stunning. I think of like the wardrobes and everything.
It was visually stunning to me because the black people were the only pops of color on the screen, and they really, really stood out.
We've all been in spaces where we've been alone, though. So I thought that was like great. So then you have this amazing bank robbery moment, and then you have the shootout of all shootouts with everyone. I thought that scene was amazing. I like the cinematography. You felt like you were there. Yeah. And like looking here, looking here, and looking there. This whole time, though, as you're looking, shout out to Idris Elba, because when I tell you he can convey emotions through his eyes, you're seeing his face, and I'm sitting there thinking, is Nat Love his son? Like, clearly that he's not going to kill Nat.
Well, even initially, when it first seen, I'm like, you're questioning it. Is that his son?
Why did he leave him?
Yeah.
And then he says, I marked you so I would know you. I would recognize you when you came.
I called that. I knew that.
Listen, I thought the writing was brilliant, because sometimes, right, when you get into movies that are super heavy on the theming, Waterworld, you miss like the whole plot. The storyline was on point. The character development was on point. The score. The music piped in at the right time when...
I got a serious question for you.
What?
Is Netflix the new BET?
BET could never. When you look at Stagecoach,
I'm just saying they got a lot of black
you.
shows. They got a lot of black movies, black stuff we want to see on there.
When you look at Stagecoach Mary's hair, which I'm so glad it wasn't like perfectly coiled. Ladies and gentlemen, if I don't put 20 pounds of, fizz control gel on my curly hair, I'm Stagecoach Mary. And the beautiful braids on Trudy, Tyler Perry wigs could never. Could never. I think Netflix has a pulse on what people want. Whereas Prime Video gives you Coming to America 2. If you want our review on that, we'll make sure to include it. So I don't think it's something where it's like blaxploitation.
No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying like it's a good thing.
No, it was amazing. I could see everyone enjoying this movie. Again, not for kiddos because it is gory. When you watch it, make sure the volume's up. Again, the music. I remember there was like one perfect part of the movie and you're all in and then you hear Lauryn Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm just like, my mind is blown. That was
the robbery scene.
My mind is blown. The ending, I don't even want to talk about the ending. You guys know what happened. It was, did you expect? I knew, I don't know, for me, like even in his conversations with, well, first of all, what was your favorite fight scene? Let me back this up, guys. I'm so excited about this movie. What was your favorite fight scene?
That's a good question. I don't know. Come back to me. Let me see what yours was.
First of all, I don't watch MTV Movie Awards, but if they have favorite fight scene, we absolutely need Trudy and Mary to win.
Oh.
For their knockdown, drag them out fight scene. You have, they get gritty. And then they have the different fabrics. The colors were gorgeous in that scene. You had, you lost some good ones.
I think I like
every death was like
the main fight scene. Like with Nat Love, I liked how they did the classic Western movie shots of, like him walking on the porch and a guy pops out of the door on him and he kicks him back in the door. Stuff like that. I think that scene itself, the big one at the end.
Oh,
in totality. I like that scene.
And the use of the dynamite. And then you have Nat Love finally coming in and seeing Rufus. And Rufus is ready. He's tired. He's ready to die.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Rufus drops the bomb on Nate that made Nate question his whole existence. What did you think about that?
I thought it was dope. I thought it was a good plot twist. I didn't think of that angle of him being his brother.
Yeah. Before Dad changed his life, Dad was a jerk. Dad beat my mom to death and then left me with her dead body.
So Nat is actually a buck.
He is a buck. He said he changed his name to Love. And then I find him at a church with his beautiful young wife and his son the same age that I was when he left me with my dead mother. Mm-hmm. And then he goes on to say, so I made you what he made me.
Yep. Which is crazy.
So here's the thing. You have Nat Love that is feeling justified in his revenge. That moment that he realizes that he is simply a pawn in Rufus Buck's full-on payback to their dad, right? And I think it's interesting because there are people out there with like two families. And you hear, yeah, my dad has another family. He doesn't even speak to me. That kind of energy. Mm-hmm. And like that, their version of that dad is completely different from maybe who you knew. And, the emotions in that scene. And then when he came out, Mary knowing him and Mary being his confidant and his love, he's talked to her about this forever. And she says, you know, he falls in her arm and she says, "Did you kill the devil?" And he said, "I'm not sure."
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because he's had to accept his role and his destruction in this whole thing.
Yep. But now he's the devil.
He's the devil.
Yeah, pretty much.
I guys,
there's definitely gonna be a part 2.
Rewatchability, 1,000,000,000%.
There's a lot. Like, I know that we missed, you know, trying to watch it one time around.
Oh no, we're watching again with subtitles.
Yeah.
The subtitles will be in these Western streets.
Mm.
How many?
Wagon wheels?
Wagon wheels, right? Can't be tire tracks. How many wagon wheels do you give this?
I give it 4. I give it 4 wagon wheels out of 5.
I give it 4.5. I thought it was brilliant, and I think that there will be people that will be like, "Oh, what does Jay-Z know about movies?" Or, "Who wants to see a Western?" It's our history. It's a part of our culture, and that has been whitewashed, pun intended. I will tell you this.
Not even that. It's like, it's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
At the end of the day.
It's a great movie, but now that I'm looking at it and I'm, you know, I want to see Westerns with Mexican vaqueras in them. Because I know that they existed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think it just opens up the door in so many ways. I was blown away. Rewatchability is extremely high. Again, 4.5 wagon wheels from me. We will be watching again. And if you enjoyed spending time with us talking about the movie, make sure to comment down below. Let us know. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe. Like, what are you waiting for? It takes a moment. Hit that notification bell and be sure to like this video. And make sure to follow us on social media at Road Trippin' with the Rudes. We'll keep you up to date with all things us.
That's right.
And until the next time, guys.
Keep tripping.
Bye, guys.